up your ears.
The sound of DTM.
My car sounds like music to my ears.
My favorite sound when the car is leaving the pits.
My favorite sound, the cheering of the fans.
Crank it up. My favorite sound? The silence before the lights go green.
Full blast.
Downshifting from full speed. When I rev up my engine to its absolute limit. Too close to cool. Cheering on the podium.
Be aware.
It's gonna be loud.
Hello and welcome to the Norisring. Welcome to the fourth race weekend of the DTM season. We're thrilled to be here in the German Monaco, and it is really, really hot. It's also a very demanding city circuit. In fact, it's the shortest in the calendar, only 48 seconds. And here's the man we like to call Mr. Norisring, Jamie Green. And indeed, today you're starting in P3, so I guess that is pretty promising.
Yeah, I can win from there if everything goes really well in the race. As you said, this is a really demanding track on the brakes, and it's hot today, so it's a tough one, and you never really know how it's going to turn out. So yeah, we'll just have to see. But obviously I'm close to the front, and I've won here before from, I think, 7th on the grid, so you never know.
Well, best of luck. Thank you so much. And also at the last race weekend, he did really well, 2nd and 4th place. So let's have a look back at the Lausitzring.
The man of the moment in the DTM is 27 years old, comes from Canada, and is driving a Silver Arrow. Robert Wickens from the Mercedes-AMG DTM team HWA. For the first time in the 5 years he's been racing in the DTM, Wickens is in the lead of the driver's standings, although he has yet to score a win in 2016.
I was happy that I put together a good, consistent weekend, and weekends like this is what can win you a DTM championship. So hopefully we can have more of these.
In the first race of the Lausitzring, the Mercedes driver claims 3rd place from Marco Wittmann soon after the start. Audi's Jamie Green then prevents an even better result. At the end of the 2nd race at Lausitz, Wickens is on the podium again after finishing 3rd. This time, traffic of drivers to be lapped after the pit stop prevents a better classification. Other drivers are winning the race. On Saturday, Audi's Miguel Molina comes out on top in the duel with fellow Audi driver Jamie Green to score his 2nd win in his 74th DTM race. On Sunday, the tiniest driver in the field makes history as he becomes the first Austrian to win a DTM race. A Leitster flag victory for Lucas Auer ahead of Matthias Ekström. For BMW, Marco Wittmann is the main candidate in the battle for the title. The 2014 champion finishes 4th and 6th at the Lausitzring as the best placed driver of his brand and moves up to 2nd in the drivers' standings.
And now I'm here with the pole setter, Christian Vitores. Good job in the qualifying. Obviously, it's always best to start in front. Last year, you also managed pole, but then 4th place. Do you think maybe today you can manage podium?
Well, I hope so. I mean, if you start from pole position, it's obviously the target to win the race. That was the goal last year, and this is the goal again this year. I try to do a better job than last year, and let's see where we end up.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck for the race, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Verena. Here we are then. As Verena described, it is the German Monaco. As we look at Paul di Resta, going for P7 on the grid. The sun is shining. It's blisteringly hot here as Paul loses his sunglasses just ahead of the race. Qualifying then has seen him P7 on the grid. Let's bring you the grid in full. Christian Vitores, who we were just talking to, is pole position. Matthias Ekström goes alongside him.
Then on to the second row of the grid, it's Jamie Green, just half a tenth off, and Robert Wickens, both race winners here in the past.
Wickens a man to watch, I'm sure. Then it's Bruno Spengler from P5. Eduardo Mortara's qualifying gives him P6.
We'll move on to the fourth row of the grid, where we see Paul de Resta on the inside and Lucas Auer, now a DTM winner, on the outside.
Indeed, the Austrian a race winner. Mike Rockefeller P9. Nico Muller goes from P10.
On to the sixth row of the grid, 11th will be Timo Glock. Augusto Farfus starts in 12th.
To the seventh row right now, where we find Marco Wittmann P13 and Maxime Martin P14, two BMWs together.
And the eighth row of the grid, the Audi of Adrian Tombe, the Mercedes of Gary Paffett.
To the next row, it's Maximilian Gertz and Miguel Molina.
Then on to the 10th row of the grid, Timo Scheider, the double champion, starts 19th. Tom Blomqvist in 20th.
Towards the back of the grid, we find Antonio Felix da Costa P21 and Daniel Juncadella P22.
And the final row of the grid, Martin Tomczyk and Esteban Ocon. And down on the grid, Verena has caught up with Jens Marquardt from BMW.
Jens Marquardt, only one BMW in the top 10, however, Bruno Spengler on P5, so I guess all hopes on Bruno?
Yeah, all hopes on Bruno, obviously, but also then I think 11, 12, 13, 14, we have four in a good bunch there. And, well, we know it's all really tight here at the Norisring. And with this good weather now, I think there is still, good chance for us. Everybody just has to get through the first hairpin, which is going to be interesting. So hopefully we'll get there clean, and then we'll have a look.
All right, well, best of luck, Jens Marquardt. Thank you so much. Back to you.
This is the Norisring, this street circuit that once every year plays host to this fantastic DTM weekend, which sees thousands of people come in to enjoy the race action. It's a sun-filled afternoon for race number 1. It's race number 7 in the DTM season 2016, and what a backdrop from our heli shot, as you can see. The tightest circuit that the DTM cars travel to, and despite the fact it's a tight circuit, the action that is delivered is first class. Jamie Green, then, often called the king of the Norisring, goes from P3 on the grid in his Audi, and Chris Hartley alongside me. He must be feeling fairly confident from there, given his history at this place.
He's on a very good vein of form, is Jamie. He's won 4 times here, but so Robert Wickens as well, one to watch, because 2 of his 3 DTM wins have come here at the Norisring, including one last year. Matthias Ekstrom there, who's 3rd in the championship standings, yet to win. Of course, Robert Wickens, who leads the championship standings, yet to win. It's the consistency that has got Robert up there. 2 third-place finishes last time out. The Canadian at the Lausitzring moving into the lead of the championship from Marco Wittmann by just 3 points. 6 races, 6 different winners, 7 qualifying sessions, 7 different pole sitters. Christian Vittorius getting his first pole since here last year, the Norisring, where he didn't quite manage to win, got a good 2nd place finish, but he's got a good record here as well. And Muka Motorsport, Dave, are on a fine vein of form, because they were 1-2 in qualifying in terms of pace last time out at the Lausitzring, and Lucas Auer, of course, got his maiden win. So the team from Berlin is going really well at the moment.
Yes, it is. As we look at Christian Vittorius, you're absolutely right. And the scenes of celebration on the pit wall at Lausitzring, when A, Lucas Auer won, and B, Muka Motorsport won.
Yeah.
You mentioned this in our qualifying program earlier today. You'd think they'd won the championship. They were that delighted, weren't they? And you're right, and that must mean that they come here with confidence really invigorated.
Absolutely right, yeah, and it just proves that anybody on that grid can win, can get pole positions. The interesting thing is, we talk about the performance weights and the ballast. I think for the first time this year, off the top of my head, it's based on each driver's fastest theoretical lap time. Now, Vittorius got pole, but the fastest theoretical time was actually Jamie Green, who starts 3rd. If they put all of his sectors together, his fastest first, second and third sectors, that would have given him theoretically pole position by 73 thousandths. So 5 kilograms therefore has been added on to Jamie and all of the Audis. Nothing has been added to the Mercedes, so that's a bit of a bonus for them, isn't it? And that's now the lightest car on the grid. It's 2.5 kilograms, all the Mercedes 2.5 kilograms lighter than the BMW, and the heaviest car, 10 kilograms heavier than the Mercedes, are the Audis. So sort of a double victory in qualifying for Mercedes this morning. They snatched pole, but also managed to get away without adding any weight to the car.
And the thing is, the way the weight structure works for season 2016 is that whatever happens today, it's completely academic, because the weights tomorrow, it's from qualifying, isn't it?
Yeah, no longer based on race results as it was last year, which is, by and large, most drivers, I think, saying that's an improvement. They like the system. You're not penalised for having a successful race. And it is working out. There is Jamie Green then, looking to take his 5th win here at the Norisring. The last one came back in 2012. He had 3 on the spin, didn't he, in 2008, 09 and 010. One of the most experienced drivers on the grid. He has been in the championship for more than 10 years now. Started out as a Mercedes driver, switched across to Audi a few years ago, and seems to have found his home, doesn't he, with the team he's currently with, the Rosberg team. They have got a good bond together. Came mighty close to winning his first title last year, and despite a bad start this year and some bad luck, he is on a good vein of form. 3rd, 2nd and 4th in his last 3 races. That puts him up to 4th in the standings.
So you can see the final preparations underway down there on the grid then ahead of this 7th race of the DTM season 2016. And Christian Vittorius is our pole sitter, the one of 2 Pink Panther almost liveried cars that occupy that Mercedes, and also that of Lucas Au, who's going from P8 on the grid as the engineers make their way off the track. We have seen some historic races here at the Norisring, many of which, it has to be said, have been really, really affected by weather. Now, Chris Hartley, pessimist as you always are, and you can see some brollies up in the crowd there. You were the one that earlier on said, as Uli Fritz is shaking the hands of his team down there, you were the one that said, actually, weather could still play a part today, but I don't think we're going to get anything in this race, are we?
Well, this morning the forecast was that rain was on the way at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, it's 22 minutes past 1, and look at the skies. I mean, there are some clouds up there. Doesn't look like it's going to rain, though, does it? So, I mean, it's really hot, it's really humid. It's the sort of weather you do get just before a storm.
Yes.
It was like this all day yesterday. And still the rain hasn't come. So for the time being, we're getting away with this, and tomorrow certainly looks like it's going to be a dry day as well, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, fun in the sun to come then, as the shorter of the 2 DTM races is about to get underway, as the cars are on their formation lap right now. Robert Wickens there in the number 6 car. There's Bruno Spengler. There's Eduardo Mortara. It's Paul di Resta, and then Lucas Au, race winner last time out. Then we see Mike Rockenfeller and Nico Muller. What a great shot this is. Timo Glock as they make their way into the chicane here at the Norisring, this street circuit. Gary Paffett. Then it's Maximilian Gertz, and all the cars weaving from side to side. Now, when the weather does affect the Norisring circuit, there are certain surface changes which really make it very, very tricky. But those that have the benefit of having raced a lot here at the Norisring, people like Jamie Green, absolutely know how to nail this particularly short 2.3 kilometre circuit to get the result that they need. And from P3, he is going to be a man to watch. There you can see the track temperature, 34 degrees, air temperature, 30 degrees. I'd have said it might have been a degree or 2 higher than that, but perhaps that's the sauna-like qualities we have in our comms booth.
Yeah, there's a little breeze out there. It's a tiny bit more bearable than it was yesterday, as Christian Vittorius is guided onto his grid. From pole then, can Christian Vittorius get his first win in DTM since Oschersleben right at the start of the 2014 season? It's a street circuit, but you can overtake here, Dave, and he's going to have to fight for this one.
So keep an eye on Christian Vittorius, who will try and dive to the inside and prevent Matthias Ekström from moving up further than his P2 position at the moment. We await the green flag from the marshal at the rear of the pack before we get this.
Approaching now.
There, Matt.
And green flag just comes out now.
So Matthias Ekström being advised by his engineers. Start sequence is about to get underway, Matthias. So it's Christian Vittorius, Matthias Ekström on the front row, Jamie Green and Robert Wickens row 2. As the lights go out, let's go racing. Christian Vittoris then, is he going to dive to the inside? Is he going to prevent? Yes, he is. He manages to get away with it. Paul de Resta on a charge on Bruno Spengler already, and here comes Eduardo Mortara on Jamie Green as they go into the hairpin. Eduardo Mortara may make up a place here, but may just lose it too.
And Nicky's got his nose in front, look, coming out of the hairpin, but still side by side here, on board with Ekstrom. To his inside here is the Pink Panther, bit of contact, and back down the inside goes Lucas Auer, back into the lead of the race. He had a fight for that. Nicky is in second, Wickens has had a good start in third, and as you say, Dave, Mortara with a really good start is fourth.
So Christian Vittoris does get his nose back in front again then and denies Matthias Ekstrom. Then it is Robert Wickens who's P3. Eduardo Mortara on a real charge though, harrying the Mercedes of Robert Wickens ahead of him. They're about to complete one lap. That's how quickly it goes here at the Norisring. And as they all jostle for positions behind, well, Christian Vittoris has 5/10 advantage over Matthias Ekstrom, who's now having to think about defending from Robert Wickens, who's also on a charge. So Robert Wickens would very much like to get rid of Matthias Ekstrom ahead of him. There's Lucas Auer in the other car. Is he going to make contact with the concrete wall? Just avoided it.
Yeah, he's 10th, isn't he, Lucas Auer? Yeah, 10th place at the moment, so just about in the mix. So Vittoris leads, Ekstrom second, Wickens third, Mortara, Green, de Resta, Spengler in 7th place. And then we've got Rockenfeller in 8th. He's gained a position. Muller, then Wittmann. Auer's down to 11th place now. So the teammate to Vittoris at the head of the field. So here is Christian Vittoris fighting really hard. It was alongside Eki. Eki got his nose in front coming out of the hairpin. But the inside line for the first part of the Scholler S has belonged to the Muka Motorsport driver. And at the end of the first lap then, it's Christian Vittoris from pole position that leads the Mercedes. Half a second clear of Ekstrom, Wickens and Mortara tucked up right behind.
Augusto Farfus, another one that is under pressure at the moment from Maximilian Gertz. That's further down the order, battling over the P13 place. And there you can see Maximilian Gertz on the outside of Augusto Farfus. He'll have to yield, otherwise there's a very unforgiving concrete wall, which does not bend. So Christian Vittoris P1, then it's Matthias Ekstrom P2, then it's Robert Wickens P3. Robert just losing sight a little bit of the Matthias Ekstrom car at the moment. Then we get to the second pack, which is sort of the pack from P8 down, which is being led by Mike Rockenfeller at the moment, with Nico Müller right behind him. And then we see Marco Wittmann. So this pack with Bruno Spengler at the end of that pack, P7, then there's a bit of a gap back, isn't there, to Mike Rockenfeller. They've kind of put themselves into two parts almost, and there you can see just how Lucas Auer and how close he came to that concrete wall. There was a little bit of contact between himself and Augusto Farfus. There it comes. It's just a little bit of one of those little aerodynamic foils flies off the Augusto Farfus car. Oh,
that was fairly heavy though, wasn't it?
It was.
You see an opportunity though around a street circuit, you're gonna go for it, aren't you? And so he pounced. So there's Vittoris, shadowing him is Ekstrom and Wickens. These top three drivers all looking for their first win of the season. Mortara has been one of the 6 different winners that we've had. He's there in 4th place. Jamie Green in 5th. He's looking for his first win of the season as well. And here's this splitter cam.
Oh, I love it.
Shows you the speed that they take around the circuit here. The qualifying times this morning, the average speed was 172 kilometres an hour.
And that's just how close they get. We were on board momentarily with Robert Wickens as, well, that was Nico Müller really having a look at Mike Rockenfeller there. So dive back in behind Rocky now, but of course they both have the Marco Wittmann BMW behind them. As errant piece of bodywork there in the middle of the track, isn't there? As it's unchanged at the front with Christian Vittoris leading from Matthias Ekstrom, then it's Robert Wickens. That's that sort of second pack, if you like, that we were with just momentarily, with Mike Rockenfeller leading that pack. We're on board with Jamie Green now, who's running in P5. So Jamie then a loser right at the very, very start of the race. It's Vittoris, Ekstrom, Wickens, Mortara, before we see the all-orange car of Jamie Green, which is running in P5. Oh, and that's Mike Rockenfeller, and
sliding off there, wasn't he?
He will rejoin right at the back of the pack now. Doubtless we'll get a replay of that, but that's in Mike Rockenfeller's position from P8 go down. And it was a clunk from Nico Müller, that an outbreak mistake, wasn't it?
Yeah, just got tagged into that. Mike then was quick to get back around. I had to wait for the cue to come through. Real shame because he had one of his better qualifying sessions this year. The former champion, Mike Rockenfeller, with work to do now from 24th and last. Everybody's still running in the race and everybody together in this lead pack. Look at them. There are 7 cars for the lead of the race here. Vitoris on board with Eki, who's closing under braking here, picks up the toe. They've got DRS as well. That was enabled at the end of the first lap of the race, so that wing will change its angle. They can push the button up to 3 times during the course of a lap. Investigation involving that incident with Mike Rockenfeller. The incident between them at the hairpin. But here onto the paving, Dave, the street circuit, come the race leaders. And one of the F3 drivers was making the point to me earlier on, because it hasn't rained for quite a long while in this part of the world.
Yes.
Offline is really slippy. You get all the dust, all the rubbish. You know, the track is cleaned, is swept, but it's really slippery offline.
So the incident between Nico Muller and Mike Rockenfeller is under investigation then, as you can see, as they were then, but just get the feeling that Matthias Ekström is trying everything he can. Of course, DRS being deployed. Christian Vitoris, though, as Robert Wickens now ties up to the inside of Matthias Ekström and squeezes him towards the wall. And that means that Wickens has made a place up now. That was a firm move, wasn't it?
Elbows out.
Yes.
It looked like Eki was the one that was going to go on the attack, wasn't it? You never thought the Mercedes was going to come through, but he just nicked it at the last second. Look how far back Wickens is here. But trying to go around the outside, he gets offline, leaves the door open, and Robert did not need a second invitation. The Canadian through into second place.
From how I see it there, that was completely fair.
Yeah, he made sure Eki wasn't going to come back at him.
Ekström has 19 DRSs.
Yeah, the team just making the point. You have a limit on the number of DRSs you get to use during the course of a race. It's different at each track. It's different for each race because it's a shorter race today than tomorrow. It's just a sprint today, 40 minutes. Tomorrow's a longer race with pit stops.
If we could just bring you up to speed, Nico Muller has been given a drive-through penalty, and there he is taking that drive-through penalty now for causing that collision with Mike Rockenfeller, which put Mike Rockenfeller right to the back of the pack. Now, there'll be some discussions at Audi after this because it's an inter-manufacturer mistake, isn't it? So now Muller goes right to the back of the pack, and Mike is advantaged by 1 further position. But given that they were running in P8 and P9...
Ekström is using DRS again.
Yeah, of course, now that Ekström has got somebody else to chase, he's still got DRS enabled. In fact, all the guys in this chasing pack are close enough to the driver ahead to be able to use it. Within 1 second of the driver ahead, you can use it.
At the moment, we have the least amount.
Which makes Christian Vitoris' drive even more impressive, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, because he's nobody in front of him. He can't use his DRS. But look pretty solid, isn't it, at the start of this race? Here comes Augusto Farfus trying a move on Max Gotts. And will he get through? Yes, I think so. You get out the inside, then you make your car pretty wide, and you just sort of slenderly move across towards the wall, don't you? Know that the guy next to you is going to get off the throttle, but back he comes on the way into the Scholler S's, digs deep and gets a place back. Right behind all of this is Lucas Auer in 11th place.
So there is Augusto Farfus then, who has got past the Maximilian Gertz car. Oh, and Gary Paffett receives just a little bit of a tag there from the Adrien Tombe car. Well, Gary straight on the team radio complaining about those tactics, and you could just see there was a little bit of a touch there from Tombe. And look at this, almost 3 abreast they go with Farfus, Maximilian Gertz and Lucas Auer, who we're on board with right now, who's chasing down the brand mate ahead of him. Maximilian Gertz, who's running just out of the points in P11 at the moment. Augusto Farfus P10 ahead of him. As you can see, Tombe has got past Gary Paffett. And that means Paffett is relegated to P14 with Antonio Felix da Costa in the BMW right behind him.
Manufacturers have got themselves into little groups at the moment. You've got 2 Mercedes first and second, then 3 Audis together, third, fourth and fifth, then a group of BMWs inside the points as well. Vitoris 0.3 of a second clear of Wickens then, who is closing now under DRS, and the race leader will know this. Here's the battle between Gotts as well, who's also closing. Look at the car hopping and bouncing over this very bumpy street circuit, getting as close as he can here. Max Gotts, the Mercedes driver, trying to get around Augusto Farfus. Look at the pink car of Lucas Auer, who gets in the mix as well, but Gotts is going to have the right line, the inside line for the right-hand corner coming up.
So it's a real battle going on, isn't it, between the 2 Mercedes cars as well of Lucas Auer and Maximilian Gertz, both of whom are trying to find a way past the BMW ahead of Augusto Farfus.
Auer is 4/10 slower.
So there, an invitation being given to Adrian Tombe to try and go up the inside, which he does, by being told he's 4/10 slower, and he thinks, right, I'll have some of this. Lucas Aura's just lost a position.
Gary Paffett has got Antonio Felix da Costa, the Portuguese driver, for company. So hugging the inside line here, the red and white shell livery car of Augusto Farfus. The Brazilian is 10th at the moment, trying to pick up a championship point. Max Gotts in the dark grey Mercedes, trying to go around the outside of him again and failing to do so.
Gotts has got the raving ump with him, hasn't he? You can almost see it, that I'm having this place back, come what may. Mr. Farfus ahead. And Maximilian Gertz certainly staying with him.
But if you make a move, Dave, in this situation, you've got to be sure you're going to go through and committed to it, because if you try it, fail, have to get off the throttle, there's a queue behind him of 5-6 cars that could all easily jostle him right out of the mix here. You lose a place, you're probably going to lose 2 or 3 in the bounce, aren't you?
Yeah. Gary Paffett moving in on Lucas Aura ahead of him now, both using DRS. Here comes Maximilian Gertz once again to the outside of Augusto Farfus. They panel rub together going into the Grundig hairpin. Gertz has got his nose in front, but Farfus makes it so wide, doesn't he? And that advantage is...
Yeah, loses a spot coming out of the corner to Adrian Tombe, who just gave them a car length gap, didn't he? Right, you two fight each other. You slow each other up in the apex, I'll get a better run through the corner, and I'll whip past you coming out of the turn, and he gains a place, Adrian Tombe. So smart thinking that from the Frenchman. He gains a place. And he's looking pretty racy here this weekend. It was good in the free practice sessions as well, wasn't he,
Andrew? Make that point, yes. This splitter cam on board Robert Wickens then. He's got his brand mate Christian Vittoris ahead of him. And just ducks in behind the all-pink car of Christian Vittoris. Both of them able to deny Matthias Ekstrom at the moment, who we are on board with. Eduardo Mortara, then it's Jamie Green, then it is Paul di Resta before we see the first of the BMWs, which is the one driven by car number 7, occupying position number 7, Bruno Spengler.
So, replay of the starts, and to the left of your picture there, Christian Vittoris got off the line well. Eki also. Rob Wickens probably had a slightly better start and got right behind the pair of them. Look at the blue and green Audi of Edo Matara as he went around the outside of Jamie Green into the first corner. Through the cement dust they go, through the dry powder. And this is where Eki got alongside Ekstrom, sort of through the apex, wasn't it, coming out of the corner. Everybody somehow or another gets through the corner, whether it's on the track or on the curbs. And this is Jamie Green.
Okay, Max, Tambe in front has 1 more DRS.
Sounds like Tombe's used nearly used all of his DRSs up to get where he is. Oof, cloud.
A little bit of a nerve there from the BMW, wasn't there, watching all these replays.
See in the cockpit, Jamie Green's eyes are everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
In front, to the side, to the other side, in the mirrors. Spatial awareness required into that first hairpin, isn't there?
Just a little.
You've got to be pretty trusted of the man ahead to drive that close to him, haven't you?
Yeah, fantastic collection of replay shots then. And there, the delight in the garages as places are made up. We go back to the race live, and there you can see the start reaction. And, well, Vittoris, Ekstrom, very similar. Green look, then Wickens and Spengler. Well, the order is Vittoris, Wickens, Ekstrom, Mortara, and Green is down in P5 from his P3 starting position, of course, so he's dropped a couple of places. But he's certainly staying with Eduardo Mortara at the moment, who is just ahead of him in P4. But Christian Vittoris doing everything just right at the moment. Of course, he's got a wingman right behind him, hasn't he, in terms of Robert Wickens, who's from the same brand of Mercedes-Benz, who's covering his rear end. And Matthias Ekstrom not able at the moment to make any impact on the 2 Mercedes ahead. However, we still have just over 25 minutes of this race to go, and they've really split into 2 packs of cars now, Chris. As we continue with Christian Vittoris and Robert Wickens and Matthias Ekstrom through the Scholler S's, then onto this concrete paved area which they run onto when exiting the S's, and where the adhesion qualities change, certainly, when there's rain, which no threat of that seeming likely during the course of this race. On board with Lucas Auer, then the Austrian, who was successful last time out at the Lausitzring, both for himself and also for Muka Motorsport, who's chasing down Augusto Farfus in P12. And that's really where there's bigger part of the second part of these cars are all sort of bottled up behind the BMW of Augusto Farfus. Then it is Lucas Auer, and then it's Antonio Felix da Costa ahead of Martin Tomczyk in P15, Timo Glock, then Tom Blomqvist and Gary Paffett. We're on board with Timo Glock now as Lucas Auer goes for a move around the outside of Augusto Farfus. That's always going to be a struggle, and what it also does, it leaves a gap there for Antonio Felix da Costa to try and take advantage. Gary Paffett is under investigation for overtaking under a yellow flag. It's kind of all the help he needs, really, at the moment, as he's battling down there in P18. And Farfus continue then to hold the baying pack at bay.
With Matt Scott's having finally got past Farfus, he's just left him, hasn't he?
Yes.
As Felix da Costa goes down the inside of Auer to gain a place. So Lucas Auer tries to fight back on the way out of the corner. That gap will close pretty rapidly, though. And onto the start-finish straight now. Is that Vitoris down there? That's had a spin.
Keep going, keep going.
Yes. Oh. Race leader has gone off now. Whether he got a tag, whether he had a spin. He ain't very happy, is he? Now, what's happened? Going to get a replay. Wickens is in front, look, for second of Ekstrom, who tries to get down the inside of him and then clatters Vitoris.
Well, that has changed the face of this race now.
Oh, we saw a very similar incident in Formula 3 this morning, didn't we?
Well, apologies for the team radio language.
Keep cool and go.
One of the
P7, Ekstrom will get it right through for that.
One of the great advantages we have with DTM is our team radio.
So try to close the gap to use DRS. Martin is within the DRS window.
The advantage we have with our team radio is it's absolutely live, Chris. It's not held back, and so apologies for some of the angst that you can hear.
Well, that's desperately unlucky, isn't it, for Christian Vitoris, because yes, that wasn't his incident. So Wickens has got his nose in front for second. Ekstrom was trying to fight back for second, and in doing so, locked up. There was a bit of rubbing between the Audi and the Mercedes, and then just clipped the back of Vitoris, who was ahead of them both. And he was the one that came off worst, ironically, wasn't he? So, with all of that, Mutara and Green came through to be first and second. Ekstrom third, Di Resta. What's happened to the championship leader as well? Oh, look at the front of the car. You can see what sort of hit it took, but Wickens got caught up in that. So yeah, he's pulled off on the circuit as well, hasn't he? He got as far as the exit to the turn. There he is, parked up. I thought he might have kept going, but Vitoris
you can
has
see
got
him walking
going
away
again
from the car and look at the bottom of the picture.
So
safety car is out.
Championship leader, race leader out in one fell swoop there. Mutara into the lead. Green, there again, look, second place.
Yeah.
It's coming to him, this championship, isn't it? The opposite of last year, where he had a great start, then it fell away from him. And Audi 1, 2, 3 now. Ekstrom third, but you wonder for how long. With the Mercedes of Di Resta up to fourth. BMWs of Spengler and Wittmann in fifth and sixth. Vitoris has rejoined in seventh place.
Well, can't think that the Ekstrom car will continue. No, being guided into the garage. Significant damage to the front end of the Matthias Ekstrom car. Significant damage, of course, to the race of Robert Wickens and Christian Vitoris. And there you can see Robert Wickens, who, of course, came into this race leading the championship, Chris, by a slender margin. And, of course, would need to bank maximum points that he possibly could. And was in a good points haul position in P2. And nothing to say that things might not have changed towards the end of the race, but really, Vitoris was the unfortunate one there, Chris. Yeah. And it is, as you say, it's like a carbon copy of something that we saw in Formula 3 earlier on today.
Yeah. Second and third battling. First place minding his own business. Just gets tagged there. Eki just couldn't get the car slowed down. There was rubbing. It was a legitimate move, wasn't it? But every time you make a move into that hairpin, it's a risk. You have to take the risks to succeed. Sometimes they work, sometimes, unfortunately, you only got to misjudge it by, you know, a fraction. And it's the difference between a brilliant move and disaster. And unfortunately, it was disaster on this occasion. I bet he can't believe it.
Muka there, shaking his head. Robert Wickens shaking his head also.
So first and third in the points are going to get no points. It's good news for Marco Wittmann. He's only 3 points behind the championship leader, and he's doing quite well in fifth place, so he could pick up the championship lead here. Jamie Green will move, if it stays like this, ahead of Matthias Ekström up into the top 3 as well.
And of course, there's only a point between Jamie Green and Eduardo Mortara.
Yeah. Yeah, Jamie's currently in second place. That'll give him 18 points. So yeah, he'd move up well ahead of Eki. He's only 1 point behind Eki. And it depends where Marco Wittmann finishes, whether he can move ahead of him, but probably not at the moment.
Well, Robert Wickens tries to find an unorthodox route back. Safety car is going to come in this lap.
Car 5 is going to report it to the stewards of the meeting for causing a collision. No points for guessing who number 5 is.
Well, lights are out on the safety car, as you can see. So Eduardo Mortara and Jamie Green, and then Paul Di Resta. Di Resta really out on his own now in terms of the brand of Mercedes-Benz, because the next Mercedes is the returning Christian Vitoris, who's
6th now.
Down there into P6, so... So from the restart then, Edo will back them all up. Floors it now. Now, cast your mind back, think 12 months. Jamie Green, Paul Di Resta, good mates, live next, quite close to each other. Both of them together in fraught race last year, tagged each other and...
on the formation lap, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, look at that. Jamie Green's gunning for this. Looking for his first win of the season. Mortara, though, just about fending him off. Paul Di Resta has been a race winner as well. Second event of the season at Hockenheim. So can Mortara become our first double winner of the DTM season? Jamie Green might have something to say about this. Christian Vitoris trying to find his way back up the order is in 6th place. Lucas Auer behind him. We saw in 13th behind Tom Chip rather, trying to get himself into the points. He's just outside at the moment. There he is. And his next target, Antonio Felix da Costa, in 11th spot.
So we've lost 2 cars from the race, those of Matthias Ekström and those of Robert Wickens. The rest are out there as we resume this race with 17.5 minutes still to come. Eduardo Mortara leading from Jamie Green. Eduardo Mortara just bounces off the concrete, doesn't he?
Oh, there goes another mirror. They pulled the rest of the lost one in qualifying this morning, didn't he? Took it clean off. Which, you know, think about it, unhelpful in a race situation where they're using those mirrors quite a bit to try and defend their positions into hairpins and so forth. And the Scholler S is another place where you can overtake. So good luck this has been for Edo Mortara. He's going to be 0.6 of a second clear, so he's opened up his gap there.
But of course, available to Jamie Green now is DRS, as it's enabled once again. So this will allow him to get ever close to Eduardo Mortara, because Jamie Green will have the benefit of the DRS. And Eduardo Mortara, by dint of the fact that he's leading this race, will not have the benefit of DRS. Of course, that also applies to Paul Di Resta, who will also be able to get ever closer, presumably to Jamie Green. We shall see as it unfolds now. DRS deployed. And we're on board with Marco Wittmann, who's currently running in P5.
And there's a fired-up Christian Vitoris, look, in the bright pink number 8 Muka Motorsport Mercedes. There's his teammate, number 22, Lucas Auer, still trying to get past Antonio Felix da Costa. They're the blue Mercedes, the Euronics-backed car of the 05 champion, Gary Paffett. Second most winning driver in the championship, but right behind him is Timo Glock in the BMW. Here's a replay. It's down at there, the first hairpin, the Grundig corner, and that was how Gary got past, or not just there, got alongside. He must have made it stick on the way into the S's. Nearly every move down there has had some kind of contact, either with the move itself or on the way out of the corner at the end of the move, hasn't it?
Almost inevitable, isn't it?
Well, they're wide cars and it's a narrow circuit, put it that way.
So the final 15.5 minutes of the race. There you see the Paffett car currently running in P14. Mike Rockenfeller, who's made his way back up the order to P19, having been tagged earlier on with his brand mate Nico Muller, for which Nico Muller got a drive-through penalty. Eduardo Mortara leads from Jamie Green in P2 and Paul di Resta in P3.
By 10th, Marco Wittmann, the quickest man on the circuit at the moment, in 5th place in the BMW. 10th doesn't sound a lot, but in DTM around this circuit,
it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot, yeah. 48, 49 second lap. So that tail end of this group starting to bunch up now. 4th and 5th. His target is Bruno Spengler. Both of them, though, of course, BMW, so they won't want to harm each other's chances, or the brand's chances of picking up some decent points here. Here they come, and that second group is just starting to fall away now with Vitoris in 6th place. I think it is, isn't it? He's got Martin behind him, Tombe, Gotts and Farfus all inside the points. So Dave, Jamie Green can't quite get close enough coming out of the last corner to really be able to make that DRS count, can he? He's using the DRS, but it's only to close the gap back up.
It's exactly the situation as Christian Vitoris and Robert Wickens, wasn't it? You know, you're right, and I wonder if it's inevitably it's due to the shortness of the lap, isn't it? But you're absolutely right. All he can do is just close it a little bit, but he's not able to put anything on him. So Mortara leading from Green, then Paul di Resta, who equally is not seemingly able to get ever closer to Jamie Green to put a bit of a charge together. But Eduardo Mortara, you would say, and you've been watching the timing screen perhaps more than I have, seems to be, well, he's now 7/10 ahead of Jamie Green, so presumably Mortara is lapping just marginally quicker.
Yeah, Mortara 48.974 on that lap, so, and a 49.06 for Green, so it's only a few hundredths of a second. Then you see Robert Wickens' arm around him, and, you know, bad luck. From their point of view, they say he did nothing wrong. I'm sure Eki will, you know, argue his case in terms of that move, but there is no way Vitoris was anything to do with that. But he survived. He's still in 6th place. The car probably hasn't got all the aero bits on it that it should have at the back of the car, but it seems to be handling fairly well. I mean, he's on the pace with drivers around him, but he's going to be fuming, and the team just trying to calm him down, because they could see, you know, still points and still a good result on the board here if he can keep it together.
Now, the observant of you, to the left-hand side, you can see the order there and the graphics. If you see a graphic turn red, as you can with our 4th place driver, which is Bruno Spengler, that basically means all his DRSs have been used.
That's right, yeah. So he is, you know, the driver behind him has already got the advantage of DRS. Trouble for Bruno, he can't use it on Paul di Resta now. So you would think that's going to make life a little bit harder for him. It was a 10th slower on the previous lap.
That's Esteban Ocon.
Yes, with the car retiring by the looks of things. So the Mercedes struggling. The former F3 star having a difficult start to his season in DTM this year. As you'd expect, really. He's the only new kid on the block. He's a very, very talented driver, but DTM is an extraordinarily high level. And not many drivers walk into this and do well in their first year, do they?
No, right. So Bruno Spengler then, minus DRS, has Marco Wittmann behind him. And Paul di Resta ahead of him. Well, it's certainly not going to help his quest in terms of getting on the back of Paul di Resta, and it's not going to afford him the DRS to be able to use to defend against Marco Wittmann either. So expect Wittmann perhaps to be a little more lively now on the back of Bruno Spengler than he has been for a few laps, as diving up the inside of Christian Vitoris goes Maxime Martin.
That was a smooth move.
There was no
contact, wasn't there? No contact whatsoever, so good move. But Lucas Hauer now gets the advantage of DRS as they go over the line. Maxime, the Belgian, will know that it's coming, so he'll just stick to the inside as long as he can, jink out a little bit into the hairpin to take a better line, and he defends it beautifully.
Of course, what Christian's got to do now is be very aware of the fact that he's got Adrien Tombe right behind him also. So this is how it did then. Vitoris on the left-hand side of the screen, Maxime Martin on the right, of course, and as Chris so rightly said, it was just a perfectly smooth and probably one of the better executed overtakes that we've seen.
Sort of glided up the inside, didn't
he?
And in fairness to Christian, he gave him the space as well, didn't he? So there is Edo Mortara, the race leader. Just behind him still, Jamie Green. The gap has gone 5/10 of a second, 6/10 of a second. It's back to 5/10. and on this lap it's somewhere in between. So they're on the same pace as each other, under braking. Look, Jamie Green really closes up into the hairpin, was 3 lengths behind, but out of the corner it stretches out once more.
Yeah. Well, unsurprisingly, Wittmann is now at P4, Spengler is at P5. Maxime Martin driving hard now to try and get onto the back of Bruno Spengler. But this, of course, is good for Marco Wittmann's championship standings, because, you know, a 4th place finish for him, if it stayed the way it is at the moment, and this is how he got past Bruno Spengler, there was never any doubt that it was going to happen at some point, because Wittmann still had DRS available to him and Bruno did not, and Bruno therefore couldn't use it in any form of defence. But Marco Wittmann going into this race, P2 in the championship. Who is P1 in the championship? Robert Wickens. Who's not finishing this race? Robert Wickens. That's
right.
Good news for Wittmann, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely back up into the points lead here. Marco, who again has had the consistency, 8th, 1st, 7th, 4th, 6th his last 5 races. Just the first race where he didn't score points. Not many drivers can say that they've scored points in most races this season. So Wittmann looking strong, but that top 3 have edged away now. They're all matching each other for pace, so it's sort of stalemate between the top 3, but they've pulled away from the BMWs of Wittmann, Spengler. Maxime Martin has been released now in 6th place. Tombe has got through in 7th, so Vitoris has lost another place down to 8th position. Gotts and Farfus 9th and 10th.
Under 10 minutes left to run then, as we see the back end of the Timo Glock car, which is running in P15. There it is, just into shot there. Gary Paffett just ahead in the blue Euronics liveried Mercedes-Benz. On board with Timo Glock then, as fires the throttle to the bottom of the floor in his quest to chase down Gary Paffett ahead of him. Gary, of course, former champion in the DTM. Through the S's they go, out onto that concrete paved area. Surface change, slight elevation change as well, because that's almost cambered up, which pushes the car back out onto the tarmac. We're on board with Lucas Auer, who's running in P13, with Martin Tomczyk, the BMW driver, ahead of him in P12. So those two pink liveried cars driven by Lucas Auer running in P13. Christian Vitoris at the moment is P8.
Yeah, this circuit as well, you can reduce the angle of your rear wing to a lower angle than all the other circuits, down to 5 degrees. So it's to do with the fact that there are no really fast corners where you need lots of aero and downforce. It's long straights and tight hairpins essentially. So it's all to do with the mechanical grip here. 698
shifts for Jamie Green compared to 644 for Eduardo Mortara, which just proves the point at the front. You can drive slightly smoother, can't you, and shift less.
That's amazing, that, isn't it?
Jamie Green, a brilliant graphic. Well done. Yeah, really having to work hard, isn't he? And the gap is still 5/10 between Eduardo Mortara and Jamie Green. Of course, they're vying over 4th and 5th position in the points table at the moment, and they're vying over P1 and P2 in the race which is being led by the Eduardo Mortara car, advantaged by the fact that Matthias Ekstrom, Christian Vitoris and Robert Wickens all had a coming together. They were occupying the first 3 places up until that point. 6.5 minutes left to run. Jamie Green then, king of Norisring, so-called, who is running in P2 and chasing down his brand mate, Eduardo Mortara, ahead of him. Seemingly can't really make a charge on him at the moment. It was 5/10. It's actually increased just a little bit. Eduardo Mortara has put another 10th on the gap between himself and Jamie Green, and equally Paul di Resta is seemingly not able to get on. You know, he gets ever closer under braking, but that's it, isn't it? Once the traction is back on again and you're pulling away, he seems to lose out.
Still a good drive though, this, and a good result for di Resta. His first podium since his win back at Hockenheim. So you're going to get, I think Robert Wickens is going to slip down to 4th place in the championship at least, because Jamie Green, Edo Mortara and Marco Wittmann are all going to score enough points here to move ahead of the Canadians. So double frustration for him. Jamie Green will know about, scoring points and consistency as well. If an opportunity really does come to go for the win, he'll go for the win, but seconds, thirds, fourths. That is the way to pick up the championship. Pascal Wehrlein won the championship last year, and he only won 2 races.
Yes.
But, you know, picked up, he didn't even have that many podiums, but he just kept on picking up points.
It's a very, very fair point that you make, that it is the banking of those points, isn't it? And it's the consistency through the course of the championship, which sometimes can be to your advantage. Maximilian Gertz, we just saw there in the points, running in P9. That's Augusto Farfus, who is running in P10. Wow, what a fantastic heli shot that is. And that's Mike Rockenfeller, who is P18. Beg your pardon, P19. It's Miguel Molina, who is P18, just ahead of them, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. Timo Scheider in P17, who also has used all his DRS availability now. Under 4.5 minutes left to run in the race. Eduardo Mortara leading by 0.6 over Jamie Green. And for sure, over the closing stages of this race, miraculously, as if something is given to them that gifts them that opportunity, these three will, I feel sure, get a little bit closer. Super hyper slow-mo shot there of Eduardo Mortara. Just rubbing the wall very, very slightly. At the moment, appears to have everything very under control. Matthias Ekstrom then was involved in that incident earlier on in the race. He's with Verena now.
Eki, talk us through the incident. What exactly happened?
Yeah, going down to turn 1, I felt that my car was really good on the brakes, and I wanted to pass Robert. So I braked normal. I felt they braked early. I just went inside. Robert, once I committed, Robert started to defend, and we had a small touch with Robert, and then I accidentally hit Christian. I mean, he was not guilty at all. So, I mean, with Roberts, we were just racing, and when he squeezed me in, there was nothing left, and then just tapping him. So, really sorry for Vitoris.
And Wickens also.
No, if you race hard like he do, then I think it's a part of the game. But Vitoris, he was not guilty at all, so I'm really sorry for him.
All right, thank you very much, Eki. Back to you.
Thank you, Verena. Not sorry for Robert. I am sorry for Christian. Which I think actually is probably fair, isn't it?
Well, the great thing with Eki, you always get it straight from him, don't you?
Yeah.
And he'll always talk whether it's a good race or a bad race, and give, you know, a pretty even point of view. And yeah, certainly the rubbing between he and Robert Wickens didn't help, did it? Didn't help. And as you said, it's Christian Vitoris, the innocent bystander and all of that. It's a real shame for him, and a shame that he slipped back a bit more now. You know, probably that car not as it should be as well, and then carrying a bit of damage. He's down in 8th place, just ahead of Max Gotts in the Sister Mercedes. And Da Costa's got ahead of Farfus, so he's into the points now. That was last time around. So Da Costa into the points, the Portuguese in 10th place.
I did say these three would get closer towards the end of the race, and remarkably, that is the case. We have just over 2 minutes left of the race to come. Eduardo Mortara leads from Jamie Green and Paul di Resta, and look at these three. Are way ahead of Marco Wittmann, who is P4. Eduardo Mortara now having to really consider defending from Jamie Green, but of course Jamie Green is in this awful position, isn't he, where he wants to get past Eduardo Mortara, but what he also doesn't want to do is allow Paul di Resta to get past him. So, you know, he's got to try and attack and defend and look in the mirror and look ahead and do all of those things at once. And you know, the more these three fight, the closer Marco Wittmann can get. I think it's all a bit futile for Marco Wittmann with just a minute and a half left. The gap is too great, but certainly as far as Mortara, Green and di Resta, the real vulnerable one here, I feel, is Jamie Green.
Yeah, and if you're Audi, you don't want your top two here to take each other out and a Mercedes to nick through and win the race, do you? But equally, Jamie and Edo can't, you know, they've got to stay on the money here, keep pushing, because Paul di Resta is so close to them in 3rd place. So clock starting to tick down now, and again closing up under braking. As close as he's ever been is Jamie Green. Di Resta definitely closer this time around as well, isn't he? So the top three blanketed by, what, 0.8 of a second, something like that, as they come through the hairpin section. But Edo Mortara is so far driving a flawless race here. A win early in the season, a podium at Spielberg as well. He felt he had the car and the speed to be a winner in the 2nd race at Spielberg, but gearbox issue and a retirement put pay to that. But he is a driver that you should definitely not discount for a championship win here this season as well. Edo's got the experience, he's always had the speed, and the Audi, we know, has been a quick car this year.
So they cross the timing line with under 30 seconds left to race. Eduardo Mortara leading from Jamie Green. Then it is Paul Di Resta. And Jamie Green again, ever so close, but goes a bit wide, and that nearly gave an opportunity to Paul Di Resta to take advantage there, but not quite. Something to drive so carefully to try and attack ahead and also defend. So through the S's they come. Eduardo Mortara leading from Jamie Green and Paul Di Resta. The clock has counted down to 0. So we are approaching the final lap of the race, and there is Paul Di Resta, who's just itching for this opportunity, isn't he? For saying, almost willing Jamie to come on and fight Edo, because that will play into the hands a little bit of the Mercedes driver. As they cross the timing line, here comes the last lap. One more lap Eduardo Mortara has got to defend from Jamie Green. How close does Jamie get now? Paul Di Resta just takes a look around the inside. Jamie Green was taking a look at the inside, but Edo had got the advantage. Jamie Green now realising that probably this race it's going to be P2, but he wants to keep that P2 and not lose that to Paul Di Resta behind. Very short lap here at the Norisring. I think Edo's got everything under control.
Yeah, he was even confident enough to take a wider line into the first hairpin, the better racing line, and kind of invitingly leave the door open for Jamie, but he was too far back. So Edo Mortara controlling things at the front here. Jamie Green in second. And he knows he's nearly home and dry, Dave.
Eduardo Mortara wins at the Norisring. Jamie Green P2, Paul Di Resta P3. There's a party going on in the Audi.
E il pilota Mortadella porta a casa la coppa.
Which roughly translated means well done.
Well done, very well done.
Screaming for delight, Edo Mortara. Sounds like an Italian football commentator when Italy win the World Cup, doesn't he? Blimey, he's pleased. But, you know, that gets him back in the fight. Paul Di Resta is going to be level on points, I reckon, as well with Robert Wickens. So he's back in the fight as well. It's just blown it wide open as if it wasn't already a very lively season. But the first double winner of the year, Edo Mortara, after 7 races. That shows you what a competitive championship this has become.
And it makes it fantastic for us because, you know, we have this result today and a fine drive from Eduardo Mortara. All right, let's not lose sight of the fact that he, Jamie Green, and also Paul Di Resta are advantaged by the fact that Wickens, Vitoris, and Matthias Ekstrom all had that coming together.
Yeah, of course.
Can read nothing into this because we've got a longer race to come tomorrow where strategy plays a part as well with mandatory pit stops. So it just, you know, it almost builds the anticipation for the race tomorrow already. Here's confirmation of the result then. Eduardo Mortara taking the win from Jamie Green and Paul Di Resta. Best BMW was Marco Wittmann. And then we have a trio of them because he is joined by Bruno Spengler and Maxime Martin, P5, P6. Adrien Tombe is P7. Dieter Gas will be a very happy man from Audi DTM, and he's with Verena now.
Congratulations to a double victory. Fantastic job, definitely from Edo and Jamie. But on the other hand, I don't see you smiling from one ear to the other. Do you think there's still going to be maybe a little chat with the Mercedes-Benz boss?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're very happy to win this race. Yeah, we have lost it with a little bit of bad luck in other opportunities. So this time we won it. Obviously, we would have preferred to win it in a different way. I think everybody has seen it in TV. Matthias was in an infight with Wickens, and Vitoris was in front and just got hit. That's a shame. Sorry for that, definitely. But really, it was an exciting race. I'm really happy to have it in the pocket.
Thank you very much, Dieter Gas. Back to you.
He's got it in the pocket. Dieter Gas there, as we see Paul Di Resta. Look at the Drivers' Championship now, Chris. 69, 67, 63. Mortara, Wittmann, Green, Paul Di Resta P4 now. Robert Wickens, look, went into this race, of course, P1 in the championship, but a non-finish means he's relegated now to P5. But, you know, it's only 11 points between there and the top of the championship, which makes this the DTM so fantastic, doesn't it?
Only one driver in the whole championship this year has been on the podium both times in a weekend, and that was Robert Wickens last time out, wasn't it? The Lansing with a couple of third places. But what happens on Saturday is very rarely repeated on a Sunday. So, yeah, make the most of it. But I am very impressed with the consistency that Jamie Green is now showing. He just keeps on banging in these results. Robert Wickens had that consistency, but he has now, as you say, plummeted from 1st to 5th in the championship, a bit like what happened to Paul de Rester at Lansdowne. 1st to 6th he went after just one bad weekend. The good thing is the race result doesn't ruin it for tomorrow because they have another qualifying session. And Verena has caught up with Robert Wickens, who I'm sure is going to be bitterly disappointed, Verena.
Yes, indeed. You look very, very bitter and very disappointed. First of all, talk us through, do you think this incident could have been avoided?
100% it could have been avoided. I mean, there's no way Matthias was making that corner. To take out the front 2 cars, I mean, it's a joke. We were running a good top 3, the 3 of us. The race was stabilizing. I mean, Matthias is trying to win a championship too. I don't know what he was thinking.
Now, I asked him if he was a bit sorry about the incident. He said he's very sorry about Christian Vittoris. And then I asked him if he was sorry about you. And actually he said, no, he's very sorry about Christian Vittoris. What is that all about? What do you think?
Well, because obviously Christian had nothing to do with what happened. But at the end of the day, he broke too late. And yeah, I don't know. It's not the first time he's taken drivers completely out of the race this year. And yeah, I guess it's no surprise that he did it again.
He said you changed your line.
It's called defending a position. I saw him wanting to overtake me, so I went into the middle of the track and defended, and he went completely so tight on the inside that there was no way he was going to make the corner.
So for tomorrow, you're hoping for a fair race?
You know, a lot of drivers are fair in DTM, and there's a few that are not, so we'll have to wait and see.
Are you going to have a chat with Eki today?
If I see him, sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're both adults. We both have to race against each other for a long time. It's unfortunate that he did it. He ruined both of our races, and it's unnecessary.
Thank you very much. Clear words there from Robert. Back to you.
Very well done to you, Verena, for getting such a frank, you know, the way Robert Wickens feels. And
yeah, and fair play to him for fronting up as well.
Absolutely.
Speaking to Verena, I think Eki might be off the Christmas card list, though.
I think you might be right there. That man, though, he feels his Christmas has come already.
Yeah, well, you know, every driver on that grid has had bad luck stories, and, you know, sometimes, just sometimes, you get a bit of good luck as well. So, yeah, Edo benefited from all of that. He went through from 4th to 1st. He won the race, but, you know, then he'll go, well, if that was good luck, what about this time when this happened to me, or this time when I lost points for this reason, you know? So you have to take the rough with the smooth. Unfortunately, in motorsport, you get a lot more rough than smooth normally. So you've got to make the most of these opportunities, haven't you?
So they're making the way up to the preps room for the podium. There is Jamie Green. Paul de Rester. And just see in the middle of the picture there, the Dieter Gas, the head of DTM for Audi. And Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich in there as well.
And you can see, I mean, these are super, super fit guys. You can see how hot it is, can't you? It is roasting. Walking around in a short sleeve shirt, you get roasting hot. So imagine what they're wearing, the heat inside the cars, very little ventilation, heat from the engines, and all the physical work they're doing here, because it's a pretty busy lap, isn't it?
Absolutely. Saw from the gear changes, didn't we? Okay, appreciate they use a sequential gearbox with paddle shift, but nonetheless. Okay, here is the points situation. Boy, isn't it exciting. Eduardo Mortara is right at the top on 69 points. Paul de Rester is P4 in the points, and he's with Verena now.
Yep, I'm here with Paul. Paul, you've got to be a happy man. P4 in the points and a podium, 3rd place. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's obviously after Norisring, it was probably one of the toughest weekends we could ever probably have. We obviously worked quite hard. I spent a day in the factory and came here. I was a bit annoyed with myself in qualifying. Probably should have been P3 or P2. So to eventually get it in the podium, we were a little bit lucky with the accident. But at the same time, you have to be within the game to be part of the game, and to pick up a podium and kind of get those points back into the championship is crucial.
But you're back in the game, so I guess tomorrow you're hoping for an even better race?
Yeah, more importantly, I think back to the speed. You know, Norisring was kind of a one-off, and I think if we can carry the momentum that we've had the first 2 rounds of this year, clearly tomorrow is another big day, and we'll do what we can to try and be at least on the podium.
All right, well, thank you very much. Enjoy the little champagne shower, and back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. As we see Eduardo Mortara there, utterly delighted, of course, and Daniel Schuster too is just behind him there with water on hand for him, but Edo's not interested. All he's interested in is smiling.
Yeah, he's a good guy, is Edo. Daniel Schuster dwarfs him, but Edo's actually quite tall, isn't he? He's taller than me. But yeah, really, benefited, but he was in the mix. It was a good drive from him in the second half of the race, wasn't it?
Yes.
To keep Jamie Green and Paul de Rester behind. He never really gave them a chance, did he? He just kept on the line, kept on the braking points, kept quick lap after quick lap after quick lap.
And in fairness, he's having to do that, and I know I reinforce this point, almost labour it. He's having to do that with no DRS
exactly,
available to him.
Exactly right. You know, that's worth a few extra horsepower, that DRS.
Absolutely.
But when you get to press it 3 times, you know, he was pretty flawless there. So it was a well-deserved victory from Edo. Puts himself right in the mix of the championship fight. As to Paul di Resta, you heard from him there. I think he's after a first win at the Norisring, isn't he, Paul? At least a podium, he said. You know, he was as quick as the 2 ahead of him, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
He's going to bounce up those steps, isn't he, to the podium?
What a backdrop this is. It's a fantastic circuit. It's one of those, Chris, that, you know, we look forward to every DTM race, but coming here is something very special, isn't it?
Great city as well. Lots of history. Some beautiful architecture around here, and the parklands as well. The circuit is part set in. It's great, and it's one of the highlights of the year for the local people as well, isn't it? And they all come in their droves for this.
Yeah, it's very easy to get to. You can there's a railway station right next door to the circuit that you can walk from. You know, it's very, very easy. So Ollie Sittler then, who's the podium presenter, brings Eduardo Mortara up to the top step of the podium where he jumps for joy. So Jamie Green then takes his place on the podium, and stand by for Paul di Resta, who's on his way right now. He had the shortest walk. National anthem time to come for Eduardo Mortara, but teams, first of all, always represented on the podium as well. Wolfgang Ulrich then saluting and congratulating a fine performance. Well, DTM podium and that national anthem plays out at a lot of the circuits that I go to, like some Mugello and Monza and places like that. And you always know that it's going to be a passionate race winner, and there is one passionate race winner in the DTM, Eduardo Mortara, who's got it round the wrong way.
It's the first thing he's done wrong today.
That's a heck of a trophy, isn't it?
That's bigger than it. It's bigger than Lucas Hour. Please don't drop it.
I tell you what, if you did, that would make a tidy mess, wouldn't it?
At Sportsline, the winning team. Jamie Green, for the second time this year, is part of a 1-2 for Audi. Last time it was behind Miguel Moliner at the Norisring.
Mariella Ahrens, the actress then, who very nearly needed a wheelbarrow to bring that trophy in. Jamie, with his show of strength, holds it aloft. He's the only one to do that, isn't he?
It's like cycling he does, I think.
Yeah.
Great trophies, fantastic.
Yeah, they are. I struggle with that in the hand luggage, Paul.
It's something very uplifting about the Italian national anthem as well, isn't it?
It's
Particularly when you got
that second part.
Yeah,
sort of livens up a bit, doesn't it? Yeah.
And you got Edo on the podium, beaming from ear to ear. You can't help but smile, can you?
No, absolutely not. So just before the Henkel Trocken is exploded on the podium, guys all move forward for the photographs. Then it will be who will win the race of getting that bubbly open. Well, it's the rest of that's going to do it.
underneath the podium, not the place to be today. There's a definite strategy there, wasn't there, from the drivers?
Avoid at all costs if you're in your Saturday best, which I suspect you won't be, given the temperatures that we've got. But
might cool them down, actually. Yeah. Well, that really sparks the... It's hard to say sparks the championship into life because it was already red hot, wasn't it?
Pretty lively,
goodness,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you could go down to the guy in 7th, 8th in the championship now. Good day tomorrow, and he could end up leading going into the next round.
So the towels distributed. Well done, Eduardo Mortara, who, you know, whenever he has, you know, a podium or a race win, and, you know, he's just always somebody that wears his emotions very much on his sleeve, isn't he? You know, you always know how he feels, and we could tell that when he, you know, it was actually before he crossed the timing line and won the race. He was already on the team radio, wasn't he?
After the last corner, yeah.
Yeah, really celebrating, and deservedly so. He'd done very well. Of course, there were, you know, advantaged, but, you know, in motor racing you have to take your luck, don't you? Good and bad at times. And Edo will always argue he's had his fair share of bad, so it's nice to take this fantastic victory. So then, confirmation of the result. Edo taking the win from Jamie Green and Paul di Resta. Then it was Wittmann, Spengler, Martin, 3 BMWs in a row before we see Adrien Tombe and Maximilian Gertz, Antonio Felix da Costa and Christian Vittoris rounding out the top 10. Jamie Green, though, P2, he'll be pleased with that. Here's Verena.
Yes, here I am, and Jamie's here as well, about to eat a banana. Maybe I just wanted to say maybe you want to wait a second, but too late. Mouthful. I'm going to make the question long. First of all, congratulations, podium. You didn't have the best start, falling back from 3 to 5, but you fought back, and I guess with a 3rd place, then you're happy?
Second place.
Second place, I'm sorry.
Yeah, even happier. Yeah, you pretty much summed it up. Speed-wise, I think I was pretty good, but here it's hard to overtake. I probably could have overtook Edo at the end, but, you know, being a teammate, end of the race with a Mercedes close behind, could have ended in tears, and I decided better of it. So, yeah, second place. Still plenty of races ahead of us, and you know, I'm not over the moon, but so satisfied.
But tomorrow is another day.
Yeah, I think could have done with a longer question there. Yeah, absolutely. I think I was quick enough for pole today. Didn't quite get the lap all the sectors in one lap. So maybe with some improvements, we can win tomorrow.
So today, different question is England against Wales. Are you going to watch it?
Today? I thought the England were playing on Monday, which maybe shows I'm not such a big fan.
Today, 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
The banana is getting us both confused.
If that's right, then I will be watching, yes.
All right. Enjoy your banana. And I'm going to have a look for... he's up there. So I'm going to give it back to you, and then I'm going to grab Mortara.
Thank you, Verena. That was like a scene from the Minions, who, of course, have a great love of banana. And,
yeah, enjoy your lunch, Jamie.
Brilliant.
Don't panic, by the way. It's not England-Wales. It's England-Iceland on Monday. We've played Wales. We did that.
Thank you,
That's
Chris.
finished now. Just to update you.
Okay.
People rushing to their televisions now.
Absolutely. Jamie Green, I think, was very fair there in that he said, you know, and this is why he's so well respected and well liked at Audi, isn't it? You know, he probably did have the chance to take it to Edo, but actually, do you know what?
Pragmatic
I'm thinking
approach.
better of it here. You know, the season is long. There's a lot of races still to come. It would be stupid for both of us to end in tears. And
they'll want to win races, Dave. But if he ends the season with no wins, but he's the champion, will he care? No, he won't.
Of course not. No, of course not. So there we are. It was good to hear from him, and that was the high flying for a moment. Curb-induced Timo Glock and some of the super shots. Eduardo Mortara then, he's taken the win and is very, very satisfied, I'm sure, he's with Verena.
Oh, I bet he is. Edo, congratulations. A fantastic race for you, coming from 5 to victory. You seem a bit tired, I guess exhausted, no wonder, but you've got to be happy.
No, tired not. I mean, for sure it was difficult today because the conditions were very difficult. But more than the conditions, to be honest with you, it's the pressure that you get like from behind. You want to stay obviously, you know, in front because it's you're thinking like, you know, when you're leading the race, it could be like such a fantastic feeling if you win the race for everyone, for my team, for Audi, and try not to do any mistakes. And in the end, you know, I'm over the moon right now. It's a fantastic feeling for us.
Enjoy the moment, enjoy the feeling. Thank you so much, Edo. And here are the highlights of the day. See you tomorrow at another race here at the Norisring. Bye-bye.